Welcome to Becoming Fearless, the personal growth podcast for you if you are ready to overcome fear and step into your greatness. Our purpose is to help you overcome your limits, have loads of fun along the way, unlocking your fullest potential in life, business, health and relationships every single day. I'm your host, Charlotte Carter, a high-performance coach and entrepreneur with over 20 years experience. I've supported many highly driven, talented people like you who dream big and are ready to take action to overcome what's holding them back. Each week, my guests and I will be sharing hacks and habits on how to build self-belief, courage and confidence to master your mindset and navigate your emotions so that you can reach your human potential in a way that feels light, fun and easeful and helps you become fearless. Let's go. Hello and welcome to another epic episode of Becoming Fearless. Today I have with me, it's a guest episode, and we're going to be looking at being fearless using energetics in an ever-changing business world. So I want to introduce you to somebody that I met back in 2021. We met when we were on a mastermind together, and we have continued our journey as friends ever since. We really have. We love catching up with each other. We have very deep conversations. So I'm really excited to bring this episode out to the ears of the masses. So without further ado, Judith, let people know a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Hello, and thank you for having me. I love being here with you, Charlotte, and also for everyone who's listening or watching, wherever you catch this. I'm so glad to hear you. I'm super excited to be diving into this conversation with Charlotte because, as she said, every time we catch up, it takes about 20 seconds and we're right down in the deep stuff. I'm curious where this is going to go. I'm Judith. I'm an Ascension coach. I'm a channel from the cosmos and a business mentor. I am from Germany. I am German, but I always love to say I'm home in the world. I'm like a global citizen ever since I can remember. And this is how I'm building my business. So I cater clients all over the world at the point where I'm at right now. Predominantly women, but not only. And usually it is business owners that feel themselves are like the visionaries, the ones that are a little bit outside of the lines, outside the matrix, however you want to call that feel this, oh my goodness, something is different, I'm standing out, but that have this inner journey of a struggle where fear also plays a big role when we're afraid of our own greatness, when we're afraid of our own power, when we haven't fully connected to that, but we have this feeling there is something and we're meant for more and we're thriving to go there and we really want to make an impact in the world. This is usually where they come to me, and what we do then is connect them to this highest timeline, to their purpose, activate the beautiful gifts that they have forgotten, and then we look into, okay, what does it mean for your business model? And we get really creative, stepping outside of the lines, looking beyond current industries. And this is one part that we're going to dive in today as well. I'm really curious. So for the moment, that is this. I have had a corporate career before I became an entrepreneur as well. So also when people dive in with me, we have lots of different experiences from various industries, various business models, and I really love connecting and bridging worlds. Also, I'm a very enthusiastic person within the Web3 space, the crypto space, blockchain, so everything opening up into that direction. But at the same time, I would call myself and consider myself absolutely connected to the cosmos and to all things energetics. I'm a foodie. I'm a complete food lover, mostly vegan, and I love traveling, and I have a beautiful soulmate husband for almost 22 years together on this life's journey. So that is, in a nutshell, me and what I'm doing. So Charlotte, let's start, right?
Yeah, let's start. So Judith and I always have this great ability to go straight in the deep end. We're not here for the surface conversations. We're not here for the pleasantries. We always kind of, like Judith said, we pick up from a space of inner depth and expansion, really, and exploration. And I remember when we were both training in positive psychology, Judith was one of the coaches within my triad where we were kind of like being assessed and assessing each other. And that's when I experienced Judith's brilliant coaching and different levels and different ways of seeing things. And we just connect every couple of months on that kind of level. So let's dive deep into this The ever-changing business world. Talk to me a little bit about what you have seen in the last 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and what you would describe in terms of coaching in the ever-changing business world.
Oh, I love that question. The first thing I want to just throw out here for everyone to just see where that lands for you, because that was quite a profound download I've gotten from my guides just like 2 or 3 days ago, when I was really looking at how the coaching space is changing and the whole service-based online industry that I'm assuming most of you're watching or listening have connection to or operate within, right? And what I got and came through really clearly was when I was like, okay, where's the industry going? What is the purpose of the industry? And it was really interesting. What I got was, for the last 10-ish years, while this industry has been wildly growing and evolving, right, and so many more coaches emerged over time. If you compare back to like 15 years, it was like exponential growth in that industry. People-wise, like volume-wise of coaches, but also then obviously the business models expanded, the money, the volume in it. So everything was really great. And now we're looking at something like maybe a plateau or something that feels a little bit stuck in evolution a little bit. Nobody knows exactly where it is going. And then I got this information, and it is not supposed to continue like this, because it just came for this decade plus minus for the sake of this number of people who have abilities and became more trained and skilled, helping other people in their transformational journeys through all of the various modalities that we all know, that maybe you that are listening or watching also are trained in, right? That this mastery level across the globe, if you want to say, needed to be reached. And this was the purpose and the path of the industry. And now it is more or less fulfilled. It does not mean it will die completely, but now there will never be or not be another like the industry 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. Now there won't be 4 or 5.0. It will like completely, in a way, fall apart and then be set together in a fully new way. So if you are somebody who is also looking to, oh my goodness, where am I going to take my business next year, in 2 years, in 3 years, and you look for the next strategy, the next business model, the next platform where everyone is on, it won't be there in the way that we had it the last 2, 3, 4 years, where, over the last 2 years, this attraction marketing was a thing. Everyone went on attraction marketing and how you could combine selling and marketing in one package, and everyone was hoping to get rid of the sales calls, and all of that stuff. That was a movement, obviously. Then you could look at the platforms, the rise of TikTok over the last years, and then how Meta is changing its whole universe and all of that, right? You can discuss on that, but there won't be another thing that is connecting to that as a next level. Also, that is completely break it over if you want. There's a complete shift and change, and it's not just the next version of it, like you go into evolution and the car gets 10% faster, or the design gets a touch more spacey, or whatever it is. It is not gonna continue to evolve in that way. The question is where it's going to go. And I have some thoughts on that I would love to share later, but that as an entry point, right? The pain point I'm feeling most, either in discussions or what I'm seeing on social, is the frustration and the boredom of people with the platforms, with the business models, with them being not able to find that way. What is the next growth level, or what is the next way to scale the business? Especially those who have been creating a certain level of success over the last years through the way business has been taught. And there's nothing wrong about that for the past, just that for now, you cannot continue like that, right? Pulling out the next launch strategy, 27 points to check off, it won't work, right? Or doubling down on your reels on Instagram, it will not have the same effect it had 2 years ago, because all of that is changing. And I'm seeing people getting more and more frustrated about that, not understanding where they're supposed to go. And as always, now I'm curious what Charlotte is going to say and think about that. My take always on that is, before then, when you're at that level, that stuckness with regards to growth, before then you can leap again. You have to contract. And that means going deep inside, because the next solution is within your wisdom. There's no other strategy outside that you can Google that will give you the answer for exactly this path where we are at right now in time. Also where evolution of mankind, of humankind is at. the consciousness levels and all of that, the next answers you're searching for, they're always within, and you need to dive deeper than ever before then you can expand and leap again. So how does that land with you, Charlotte?
I love that. I like how you've explained that. And my listeners will really love that take. And I know that some of them will ponder on it, reflect on it, sit with it. Some of them will be like me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm in there. I get you. And this is how I see it show up in people. So in high performers, I see a lot of people who have rode this wave and used it to their advantage and become a great surfer of that wave and brought in different things and different spaces. And now they're at a space like how you've described, where it's like, there's no next wave. I've rode this wave for so long now, and A, I'm either bored of it, B, it doesn't suit me, B, it's got, or C, it's gone. And I actually don't want to be like the surfer anymore. I want to be something very different. And when those very different things aren't apparent, so many high performers still keep searching for them. And when they're not seen, it's the big wake up alarm bell, isn't it? That's actually like, your answers, and I will always say this forever and a day, your answers are always within you. They're always within your heart. They're always within your intuition. They're always within your energy. They're always within your actions. You have the key to everything within you, but fear will hinder that and stagnate that and stop you. And so will, everybody else's perception of what it is that you want to do. So I really like that. Let's explore. If people are listening, they're like, yeah, I get that. Okay. And I'm in this space and I'm in this stagnancy and I've been trying different things and nothing seems to feel like it's either working or like it's aligned or like it's for me. What would you say are the kind of steps that they want to really focus on next to shift themselves, if they've not got any other support, to shift themselves out of that limited way of thinking?
Oh, I love that as well. And there's one element in what you just said that was, I'm going to take that as the next piece to elaborate on, which was who do you want to be? Do you still want to be the surfer, as you said? Because that is the absolutely correct question. So the point is, if you have been in the last years a coach or a healer or a consultant, however you called yourself, and you kind of defined yourself in the role of your business in that industry, and now you see the path is now proceeding, as we've just said, the first one is really, who do you want to be? To allow yourself to rethink this role, right? And in a way, as most of us are all personal brands, right? So a part of that is also, how is our identity? Who are we? Obviously, we are not our business. I always say the business is an expression of your soul's purpose. But yeah, as we are personal brands, most of us, then a part of your identity of who you are also is part of the business, right? So there's a connection. You can ask both of that, because probably it's what I'm seeing a lot. And that is very aligned with what you say about these high-performing people, because there's a lot of reflection, right? If you also perceive yourself in this group, you will have not only a constant striving for better, for more excellent, for growth overall, but on the blind spot side, if you want, on the shadow side, you will also find yourself a lot then in overthinking and self-doubting, right? And if now the question comes back up on, oh my goodness, do I have to rethink who I am? That feels scary potentially, right? And that might feel something like, oh, I don't want to do this again, because you've been through so many growth steps already in the past and you know what growth pain feels like. Well, let me invite you to still have a look at exactly this, even though if you're not looking at hiring someone, what you can do for yourself is really use whatever you use for meditation or breath work or something where you can just sit in silence with yourself, whatever feels most aligned to you, and ponder on these questions. Do you want to be? Or who are you? Is a great question to use in either meditation or breathwork, and let yourself be guided. You can call that soul or intuition or guides that you may have, whatever you want to call that, but the answers will come and give you clues. I always call it the breadcrumbs, right? Either they come down channeled or when you out of that, your outer reality, because of your shifted focus, will have these mini breadcrumbs. You know how that goes. You see a sign somewhere, you flip open social media, and all of a sudden there is the answer or the number or whatever it is. But ask the question on really, who am I? Personally, you, the expanded version, the highest version. But then you can also ask, who am I in my business? What is my role in the business? If you've been a coach, maybe you will still be a coach, but maybe the environment will change. Or maybe you'll stay in the same bubble or industry, but maybe you'll become more of a consultant or a connector to something, or the role, the structure in your business completely changes. A client of mine who went through a process like that, and then she's doing similar work. So one of her clients, what she's activating with her at the moment is creating a franchise out of the business that she never had an idea about to do that. So that completely changing the business model. And with that change of the business model, also the role of her client changes. She's not only the only one delivering anymore, but now she becomes more of the creator of dropping down the system to others, right? Training others to deliver a part of her modalities. So that could be an idea, just one, right? But then we'll take it deeper. But what you can do really is use these two questions and sit with that. And that will also take you out of the overwhelm, right? And then the last tip I could share here, this is the questions where you might get the answers, and to navigate a little bit with more ease. So joy can come back to that process and not this, oh my goodness, not again, it's so hard and exhausting thing, right? To me, breathing is really the secret, even if you're not really a master in that, but allow yourself to breathe down. And the other one, you may laugh at that one because it's so simple, is dancing, right? And breathing, if you just use the simple box breathing, in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. Hold for 4 is very simple, but it's so powerful. And really, literally allow to dance and shake. For me, always Latin rhythms are the best. You can move hips, a little salsa, a little bachata, whatever you want. But just, get here, the upper part around your heart space and your throat chakra, get that moving. Those who can see video, I'm just moving back and forth here with my arms, right? Or you can use your hips, go left, right, back, forth. That is usually where most of the stuck energy is, because we're holding on to the old in our lower chakras. We're not getting out what we want to express in the upper chakras. So to get the stagnant energy out of that is always a great idea. And that will not only make you feel better and happier and back and flow and until you can laugh about yourself, but then it also allows the information to come through and then be expressed in such a more easy way. And then you can dive deeper into these questions. So that will be the first take.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. And the other take that I just have on that question, which I think for some people listening, if they're not like you and I, where we go super in deep, maybe one of the questions, first of all, before you ask yourself, who am I? Ask yourself, who am I not? Because sometimes people find this question easier to handle and to answer, and it gives them the space and it gives them the groundedness and kind of like warms them up into that next question. Well, who am I not? I'm not this, that, and the other. This is who I really am, or this is who I really aspire to be, and these are the fears that are sitting underneath it, or this is who I truly am, and I'm not showing that, and these are the fears that are sitting underneath it. And that's where you get more of your wisdom, more of your answers, using the tools that Judith shared. And yeah, I love shifting the stagnancy of the energy, which is why we call this episode Being Fearless Using Energetics, because if you just solely use what you've got in your thoughts and don't combine like your energy, your energetics, your intuition, your brilliance, your passion, your purpose, your strengths, your values, everything that culminates what high performance is, if you don't use them all interconnected, then you're not going to get to that best possible self or that most powerful version of you. And stagnant energy, Judith and I both experienced this many, many times. It's like painful. It's like debilitating. It's heaviness. It's feels like you're going 10 times backwards. It's, as a high performer, it feels like, you're carrying the world. When you build in techniques like Judith has shared and techniques that I've shared in different guises, you start to shift this energy in a very different way. And when you work with it multiple times a day, like Judith and I do, the cloud becomes easier and easier and easier, and you open up to a whole different aspect of energy that you might not have ever thought was possible, which is exactly what you've done, haven't you?
Exactly. And I love that you're just navigating towards that topic, because there was one thing I wanted to really share for those who might be a little bit, as the high achievers. I know they're always curious to like, okay, what is there? What is the next thing? What more potentially, depending on where you guys all are. So what Charlotte just explained is amazing. For those who feel like curious about, okay, what else is there? That is the other part I wanted to bring in with regards to where you can access deeper and in a different way, wisdom, but also information. And that is in my world, I always call us I separate us humans in the human side and the soul side, right? The human side is then our brain, our thoughts, is our emotions, is our body and the nervous system. That is just who we are as the human that we are. But the soul side, if you want, carries two very important and relevant parts that are being integrated more and more, and that are accessible more and more. And the one part is the inner wisdom, which is the wisdom of your soul from all of the lifetimes lived, that you can truly access if you learn through how you used to know, but you probably just forgot. And it's amazing to get back to remembering that. And the other one is activating. You can call that your sensual gifts or your psychic gifts, or however you want to call that. And those are different for almost everyone, but that is your access to information from the cosmos. Like for me, the specialty is and I couldn't believe at the beginning when I was told it is channeling from the cosmos. And the information I got quite at the start was, hey, you can channel everything, like anything from the cosmos. And I'm sitting there like, yeah, right. Probably yes. But as I'm seeing it evolve now over the last 1.5 years, ever since that opened up for me, like reopened up, it is coming more and more and more and more and more. It is really like radio stations. I can just plug in and the information comes through. And I'm using it not only for myself, obviously, but that is what my clients get. And this is a lot of activation for them usually for their channels. But the other one is likewise powerful, connecting back to your wisdom. And the more you bring back in this whole soul side, both elements of that, it gets easier also to navigate the human end, which sometimes is the root cause for us getting stuck in our thoughts. Our mind can be very powerful. And that sometimes then connected to these stuck emotion, energy, right? It is easier to handle when we have a good balance of both sides, because then our brain can chill a bit more, because the real CEO, as I always say, is the heart or the soul. And the brain is a very good team member on your operational team, but it's not the CEO. And it has an easier time to find back its true role when the other half is coming on in and you have more balance and more peace inside, if you want. That is then where you can dive deeper and access, you can call that the truth or your wisdom, but that is also really where your expanded conscious creative energy is. This is where you will know what is the next business model move I make, what is the next industry that I'm going to explore, where am I going to reach out, or what am I now seeing that I shifted the perspective that is close to me in my surroundings. Maybe it's a person, it's a platform, it's a product, whatever, a community. And this is exactly where you're supposed to go, because these people may just exactly need what you can deliver, right?
And that's part of the joy, isn't it? I think what happens, and this is where fear comes in, isn't it? People, I mean, you and I have been on various energetic journeys, which we continue to be on, and we love sharing. And one of the things that I found on mine is that this whole how it plays out in the business is really, really important, and how fear in your head plays out in the business when you open up to these other energetic realms, capacities, ways of being, whatever resonates with you. Then fear is fairly strong at first because it's all fairly new. It all feels like nobody's necessarily going to get what you're talking about. And you have to lean so much into your own inner truth, and you trust yourself like never before and really surrender. And for so many high performers, those bits are quite hard. They're riddled with fear. So many people that I see don't necessarily allow themselves the opportunity to even try to go down some of these routes. And the magic is when you actually, and why I renamed my whole business I Dare to Leap, when you actually are brave enough, courageous enough to stand strong in your own self, and you're like, actually, I'm curious and I am keen to explore, there is so, you cannot get your head around the possibilities that are there. They're all there. They're all there in any which way, shape or form, in any which part of your life. Everything's there. And so when you trust yourself and realize that, and then work with somebody like Judith to help you hone that ability for yourself, then honestly, the inner peace, the inner satisfaction, the drive, the passion, the purpose, the excitement, the ease in your mind, like Judith said, it's like nothing, for me personally, it's like nothing you've ever experienced, isn't it? It's like a clarity, a spaciousness, a knowing, a certainty, and things fall into place and you notice things that you just wouldn't have seen.
And I can completely understand where this fear element comes in, because I had to learn this. The thing is, what I know from my own journey, but also from my clients, the community that I'm catering is usually always also people who are very driven to thrive, driven to create greatness one way or the other. And what all of these people, everyone striving for high performance one way or the other, usually have in common is that a part of this behavior also is a trauma response from something where they have experienced adversity one way or the other, right? The strengths we carry always have like a medal, two sides. And then obviously we have the beautiful side of that, because it takes us to heights where we never thought possible when we achieve it, right? And when we keep going, and there's high perseverance and high motivation and all of the brilliance of that. But then usually that is what drives the fear and what drives potential self-doubt quite fast, is the part that whatever we experienced in adversity, and for me it was abuse in childhood, which had taught me for a very long time that it's not safe to be me, it's not safe to stand in my power, that I'm not able to. And this is exactly what Charlotte was just talking about, right? We all have these inner struggles and journeys of that little voice in our head that tells us that, who am I to, or it's not safe, or I can't, I'm not able to, because of whatever story we tell ourselves that is connected to the older identity parts within us, right? And then these inner journeys, navigating the fear. The fear is usually the main driver emotion within that journey. Until then, you look on the layers underneath, right? Fear usually is the one that we can feel first or most, because it's quite known. And fear also is something socially accepted. You can say that you're afraid more than you can say, oh, I feel so deep shame, or I feel such deep guilt, or all of the other emotions that we categorize as uncomfortable and that we tend to fear to really dive into, because we fear that it is overwhelming and that we cannot handle it, and that we will break down. And when we break down, then what will happen? We cannot hold what we've created, and we're going to lose everything. Or, who are we then when we're perceived as weak? It's one of the biggest fears I know from myself, from my journey, but also from clients and from the community, right? One of the biggest fears is always, what if somebody perceives me as weak, right? The deepest inner parts of us think we'll die, but the other socialized parts still think like I'm not worthy to be recognized as successful, or as an entrepreneur, or as whatever it is, right? But to understand this, and to every time then not just overwrite these things and try to push them away and hustle beyond the point to get to the next thing, but to understand that we can use that, seeing the truth in that, because as I'm saying, everything has always two sides, the medal. And usually the deepest fears that we have, when we get to the core of the truth of that, there's always light on the other side. And that light is usually the next breadcrumb that gives you the hint and the information to, oh, this is what it is about. Oh, this is the thing. And then you're back on the road, right? And then you're back up in the flow. But it really takes, as Charlotte says, the courage and a touch of boldness to allow to dive into this, and to allow yourself to open up, because this holds so much gold within that you might miss or deprive yourself of the opportunity to see that when you decide to stay stuck in the struggle and in the stagnant energy, right?
Yeah.
So there's whatever you want to say. There's one other thing I really want to bring in, but I'm curious what you want to add to this.
Oh, no, you can bring it in.
Okay,
you can
cool.
bring it in.
So, amazing, because I know we're about to close this episode. So the other aspect, when we look at where we started, right, how the industry is breaking over and how it is changing and shifting. And we're asking this question, okay, what is then the next version if it's not 4.0 or 5.0? So the picture I got again was, if we imagine the whole global economy with all of the different industries that we have, just picture every industry is like a box, and within the box is all of the things that define the industry. And now imagine that all of the boxes of all of the industries get thrown up in the air and then turned upside down. So everything that was in all of the boxes is just falling out, and it's all up there. Like, you know, these things where air is blown up and everything is dancing.
Yeah.
At some point, it's going to come down back to the earth, but it will be set together in a completely new way. And if you stick with that picture, that means 5 elements from industry 1 will mix together with 2 elements from industry 2 and another 3 elements from industry 5. And this is another point where I'm inviting you to get curious. What could be an industry that could right now exactly need what you have to offer? And that may be something that is not top of your mind. It may be something completely different. I want to give you one example that might be out of your scope at the moment, unless you're also somebody who has been diving deep into the Web3 and the crypto and all of that space. I've been diving and researching deep over the last weeks and months, not solely for the sake of, okay, you need to become a trader or, you know, you need to buy whatever currency. But what is so interesting and fascinating is within that space, so many new ways of creating business models are emerging or have already emerged. And a good share of these already have a connection and a link to what is in this world here, if you want, right? So the traditional industries are already starting to merge. And one example that really stood out for me, I just want to give that for you for reflection and see what it inspires you to. If we think about personal branding and influencers and what does it create? You know, when you have a great personal brand, it has value. That means selling whatever you want to sell under that brand becomes easier.
Yeah.
Obviously, only if it's set up in a good way, but let's assume that, right? So in this world here, we know that this is the personal brand aspect to sell something is either what we all do here. It might be service-based, coaching, mentoring, whatever it is. Or if you flip it over to the influencer industry that we've had over the last years, right? What is that? That's an opportunity for a company that usually might not maybe be with such a great community or might have a service or product that is not as like sexy, right? They use an influencer and their vibration, the brand value and all of that to sell that product.
Yeah.
And if we now move that into the crypto space, what is going on there now? They took this idea and applied it in a different way. So within crypto coins, there's one segment, and you don't have to know the technology and stuff, that is called meme coins. This is stuff that is very community driven. There's not a lot of, I'd say, like a corporate structure or something behind that. That is really, there's no real purpose of the companies, but it's really for the sake of community building, of fun. It is a section which is, if you just look at it investment-wise, it is more high risk in the way that it exists if it's just solo. But now the trick is, or the hack if you want, where I'm like, oh, I need to listen more. Now brands and companies on the offline world and the online world that are more B2B oriented are now using, when they want to launch something, a new product that they have that might be a bit boring or something or a bit technical, to hype the product up and give it more brand value. They're not using the classic influencer anymore or trying to build up community and their own kind of personal brand. They're connecting to these projects and companies that are doing these meme coins and using that as a personal brand version 5.0, if you want. And that is not even including any AI stuff, but it's just rethinking the concept of, okay, if I know personal brands and influencer stuff works, how can I apply that in a completely different way to leverage a launch or to leverage brand value or whatever that is, right? It's just one tiny example. So I hope this inspires you guys to really think outside these boxes that we all know that don't exist, right? To really allow yourself to break free from the current surrounding that you have also with regards to the industry. That will give you a lot of space and a lot of opportunity to come up with amazing things that will help you grow and scale, and that also get you excited.
So good. We could talk for hours and hours and hours.
Yes.
Thank you so much. How do people get a hold of you? If they've been listening and they're like, I'd love to connect with Judith, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Mostly you find me on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram and LinkedIn, but personally I'm most active on Facebook. It is just my name, Judith Junhke. And somewhere here around the video or wherever we are, there should be a link to my Stan store. It's just Stan store Judith Junhke. And there you can find free offers, paid offers. You can apply to work with me. At the moment, I'm doing a lot of one-on-one in different versions. There's the option to be on a VIP retreat weekend with me if you one of those people who just love the fast transformation. We just get together in person for 2 to 3 days, walk through the whole thing, personal transformation and business transformation. Or if you're a bit more in the phase of 3, 4, 5K-ish a month and you want to get to that next level, I have an accelerator program. So that's in a nutshell. But you'll find all the information on my socials if that is interesting to you. Yeah. Also, please say hi if you do come over so I can say hi to you as well and welcome you.
And all of those bits of information of how to get hold of Judith will be below the show notes and easy access. And I definitely do recommend reaching out if what you've listened to and you're like, I just need to be in Judith's energy in her space. So, a final question that I ask everyone is all about a book that you've either read or you've listened to that has shifted something within you. To allow you to either be more fearless or as just being a big personal growth influence for you?
Definitely the biography of Will Smith. And I've listened to it as an audiobook because he has been recording with his own voice. And I just love the way he is able to storytell. And then when he storytells his own life, it was even more inspiring. And one element that really caught me at a deep level was seeing how many, and it all was brave steps he had to take. So many decisions again and again and again, because I felt with him also this energy of wanting to thrive, right? There's very high energy for high performance, for thriving, for getting to the top. And then obviously he has the dark side of his personality as well. And then the way that he was brave and bold to really not only push through in the earlier days when he wasn't that aware about the personal development space, but then him being brave also within the book to open up on such a personal level about what he has tried and the path he has taken to get to a healthier level within his relationships, the family, and all of that. And it really went up to ayahuasca retreats and stuff. And I'm like, whoa, that is quite bold for somebody who is also such a public figure, right? To show this level of vulnerability and present it in such a strength way. So I love the balance of that and the move, not only within the book being the way he was and showcasing what he does, but then the whole journey, how he got there. Because the guy that we all remember from the Prince of Bel-Air times, right? In his young times, he wasn't there either. Yeah, he was hungry for success and curious and a bit crazy, but not at the point of self-reflection and all the other stuff that is relevant and important to get to where he then wanted to get. And to see that transformation journey was very impressive to me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. That will also be in the links for people to go and have a look and see if they want to listen to Will as well. So thank you so much for all of your time, all of your wisdom, all of the depth of the conversation that we had. I have massively enjoyed it and I know my listeners will too. So thank you so much for spending the time with us today.
Thank you for having me, Charlotte, and thank you for everyone listening. Let us know here, let Charlotte know in the podcast notes or comments or wherever you catch this, what you take away or one thing that you that felt inspiring to you.
Definitely. Thank you so much, and I will see you all on the next episode. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode. I hope that you're feeling energized, fearless, and inspired to take action today to stand in your greatness. I share even more tools and resources on my I Dare to Leap email newsletter. By signing up, you not only get early access to the I Dare to Leap products and services, but you also get brand new podcast episodes delivered straight to your inbox every Monday, meaning you'll never miss your weekly dose of becoming fearless energy. Sign up now at www.idaretoleap.com/newsletter or click the link in the show notes below.